Identify why you are texting your ex. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Love Advice TV. If this is your first time visiting the channel, welcome. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. That way you can get notified anytime we put out new content, which we do on a weekly basis. And if you have already been a part of the community for quite some time, welcome back. If you do not know who I am, my name is Danny, and I am one of the head coaches here at With My Ex Again and the Happily Committed Project. So, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we are talking about identifying why you are texting your ex. This is going to be the first video in a series of 5 around the topic of texting. This is something that I have been asked so frequently in my one-on-one coaching sessions, via email, DMs, right? How to text your ex, how to open up the lines of communication again. So I wanted to provide you with some steps, right? Some recommendations that you can start to utilize right away. So the first video in this series is us identifying why you are texting your ex. So let us jump right into it. There's 3 reasons, right? And the first one that I want to focus on is love. Let's identify if the reason for why you are reaching out to your ex is because you legitimately love that person. And what does that mean? How can you really tell if this is love, right? There's a few things that I usually go over with clients when I talk about it. And the first one is your willingness to invest time, right? Have you spent time and really reevaluated everything about the relationship? Did you take time to really self-reflect and figure out what went wrong in the relationship, what parts you are accountable for, what parts your partner is accountable for? And when you've gone through that process and you've come to realize, okay, there were a lot of mistakes that happened within the relationship. Some of them were out of my control. Some of them were in my control. And after evaluating everything, if the feeling is still there, if the care for that individual is still there, because at the end of the day, keep in mind, there's a level or a degree of selflessness when we are talking about love, right? So it's about putting sometimes the other person's needs, concerns first and prioritizing them. Now, let me be very clear. I don't mean that in the sense that that's the case every single time, right? Because if you are doing that, then there's probably a level of codependency that's going on here if you're not focusing on you, if you're not focusing on yourself. So, putting that person first for certain things. So when you sat down and you reflected and you really thought about the relationship, even after all of that, even after everything you've taken in consideration, even after the time apart and the silence and the no contact and everything, you are wanting to get back with this person because A, you envision a future that is a healthy future with this person, right? And B, you've come to realize that there are going to have to be healthy boundaries that are set and that there are needs and expectations that you have that you are going to have to present to your ex and let them know, hey, look, moving forward, this is what I need. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you are willing to do that, if you are willing to express your needs and expectations, but also take into consideration the needs and expectations of your ex that maybe you didn't take into consideration during the relationship, that means that you have come to a place that you recognize and you realize the relationship was not perfect. It most likely will not be perfect, but you are willing to invest the time and the energy to make sure that whatever decisions you make moving forward, they are healthy ones for the two of you. The second part of this, right? The second thing that we want to identify is this lust? Is this lust? And it's something that I ask my clients to sit down and really think about, right? Because like I said, there's usually 3 main reasons for why people decide that they want to open up the lines of communication with their ex again and try to potentially rebuild. So the first one, like I said, is actual legitimate love. Then there's lust, which is what we're on, and loneliness. So the lust part, it's the questions that you should be asking yourself is 1, am I missing their physical touch, right? Are you missing the sexual chemistry? Are you wanting to scratch an itch? Like, what is it specifically that is making you want to reach out to your ex? And usually if your thoughts are leading with sexual ones, right? Always talking about how the chemistry was amazing and you're probably not going to find somebody who you connect with on a sexual level like that again. And maybe it's been a little while since you've actually been intimate with somebody else and you're missing your ex because of whatever reason. It's probably leaning more towards lust. And it's something that you really have to take into consideration. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot reach out to your ex if you're leading with lust, because that also doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't legitimate feelings there. But I would caution against leading with that, because if you do, it can cause a lot of confusion in that situation, especially when you're trying to reconnect with your ex. And when you reconnect with an ex, if you're trying to build a healthy relationship, the thing that I tell my clients all the time is that it's a marathon. It is not a sprint, right? It's a slow burn, and we're trying to lay down the foundation again, right? To build something new, to start a new dynamic. And if you're leading with your sexual desires, that means that there is a chance for you to put the cart before the horse, right? To try to rush the process because you're allowing your desires to take the lead. And when we are trying to reconcile with an ex, when we're trying to build new chemistry, there is a level of the logical mind that has to play a role here, right? Rational thinking, not leading with our emotions and being a little bit more objective about the situation. And the last one is loneliness. And this is one that a lot of people face, and it's quite a normal feeling. When you're in a relationship with somebody and you're building a life with somebody, and then that relationship is no longer existent, right? It doesn't exist anymore. We contemplate a lot of things, and we come to realize just how single we are after a breakup, right? You're used to particular routines. You're used to having that person around, and it becomes comfortable. So when that person is no longer around, we miss that. We miss the interaction. We miss the companionship. We miss being able to talk to that person on a daily basis. And it can contribute to this feeling of loneliness. It also kind of depends on where you are in your life, right? Do you feel like your clock is ticking? Do you feel like, you're getting to a particular age where you can't keep having failed relationships? Maybe it's a deep-rooted fear of being alone, right? So maybe you jump in and out of relationships because A, you don't want to be alone, but B, the problem is you're not really paying attention or focusing on the things that you need to work on in order to have a healthy and sustainable relationship. Is it because you're wanting to fall back into what's comfortable? These are all questions that you should be asking yourself so that you can identify what is the reason for why you're reaching out to your ex. And for me, in order for this to actually be sustainable, for you to be able to build a new dynamic, to create something new, it has to start with love, right? It has to start with care. Again, that does not mean that lust and loneliness are not going to be part of the equation. That's all normal. It's normal human feelings, right? We all have these feelings. But leading with loneliness or leading with lust can get you into tricky territory. So if this is something that you're not 100% sure, you're like, honestly, Coach Jenny, I have no idea. I don't know how I'm feeling, what I'm feeling. All I know is that I want to get back with my ex. I don't care what the cost is. And I hear this all the time. So I highly recommend booking a one-on-one coaching session. I am more than happy to walk you through that process. I am more than happy to have a conversation with you and ask the tough questions, right? And really dig in to what is at the root of you wanting to open up the lines of communication. Maybe you feel like you just need a little bit more support. Maybe you feel like you've already made the decision and you know what you want to do moving forward. Just so you make sure you are following the process correctly, right? Because I want to set you up for success. I want you to feel like you have the best chance possible to get the love of your life back. I highly recommend the texting product. It is something that I created, right? It's how to text your ex, and it gives you a step-by-step and specific categories that you can utilize to open up the lines of communication. So if this is something that you feel you need, I highly recommend getting it. Trust me when I tell you, it will change the dynamic of how you move forward. It'll change how you see, right, texting your ex, and it's going to put you in a position where you will most likely have a better shot than if you had not looked at this product or gone through this, right? So just to make your life a little bit easier, I will add a link in the description box below for that product and the one-on-one coaching session. So you can just go directly to the website and book. You don't even have to think about it. For me, the biggest thing is having conversation and dialogue, right? I love reading the comments and seeing what you guys have to say, because at the end of the day, this is your channel. We built this channel for you, and you are part of a community, and your words matter, your thoughts matter. So if you have any opinions about the subject, if you're currently in this situation, leave your comment down below, and I will do my best to respond to you ASAP. Again, my name is Danny. I'm your life and relationship coach. I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy, and stay tuned for part 2 of the texting series. See you guys on the next video.